Good evening, everyone. God, the weather here. The sun is glorious. Even I have to say something nice about it, because I prefer if it's like snowing or raining or something. At least then all I need to do is zip my coat up or some shit. That being said, because of this weather, I almost feel like stripping my clothes off and laying in the middle of the fucking road. Maybe I can get a nice tan. Maybe the tarmac will even help me out. But of course you didn't come here to find out if I'm getting a fake tan on the road. Or a real one for that matter. Unfortunately, it's not as jovial as I would have liked this to be. Because if anybody's been paying any attention to what's been going on with Tommy Robinson, he's recently just been arrested in Canada on apparently an open immigration warrant. It seems that Justin Trudeau, or maybe I was right first time, has decided to go on full censorship again. But realistically speaking, should any of us really be surprised? He was a lockdown and vaccine fanatic. So much so, he even went to the extreme lengths of having truckers have their bank accounts closed for daring to oppose the COVID narrative. So that should already tell you what kind of person Trudeau is. I don't know much about Canadian history, but what I can tell you is that Justin Trudeau will truly be going down as one of the worst Canadian Prime Ministers we've seen. Tommy Robinson was unceremoniously grappled by two non-uniformed policemen. Well, I say policemen, I'd probably prefer to use the term Stasi or censorship police, because that is effectively what Trudeau's goons really are. But what I found particularly insidious is that Ezra Levant was there with them. He was asking, where does he go to basically help Tommy Robinson? Because he wanted to get him a lawyer. And then what happens? The police say he'll be given a lawyer. Yeah, that should scare you. May not sound that bad, but the thing is, if anybody has even got half a brain cell, they will know that the establishment lawyers are the most ignorant cronies you could ever have defending you. That you may as well go in with no lawyer at that point, because they are guaranteed to stitch you up. They will probably tell Tommy Robinson, yes, you should plead guilty to all this because the government has signed this form. No, he shouldn't be signing anything and shouldn't be saying anything like that at all. If I ever had a crime against me, I can tell you one thing. I would do everything I could to get a real fucking lawyer rather than a state-appointed one. Why do you think he's had to ask so many times for donations for a legal team? Because obviously Tommy Robinson wants to go into a gunfight with a gun, not a knife, metaphorically speaking. Though at this point, in this fucking weather, you probably need a flamethrower more than anything. Anyway, he wants to go in there fully loaded. He doesn't want to go in half-cocked. I mean, granted, I will say this much, devil's advocate here. The establishment lawyers cannot put you in a unfavorable position. They cannot basically make your case worse, because then they would be failing their very duty as a lawyer, no matter how crooked they may be. But I suspect Trudeau is using this, because this is the government who have approved of this form, going out, a warrant to arrest Tommy Robinson. I suspect the policemen involved are saying he will get given a lawyer because they don't want him to have a proper defence. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. If Tommy has anything other than state-approved lawyers, he'll probably take out the trash. He will take those fuckers to the cleaners, just like that. So I guess I can't really blame the establishment too much for wanting him to have the least defence possible. But what's truly sad more than anything is the fact that we have people going in and out of countries, whether it be here in the UK or in Canada, where you can be any Tom, Dick and Harry, conveniently lose your passport, and yet you will be given a house, money, food, while our veterans starve on the fucking streets. Yet Tommy Robinson, who literally brought his passport, came over to speak over in Canada, he's getting arrested, what I would consider unlawfully, by a crooked establishment in Canada. In all honesty, my heart not only goes out to Tommy Robinson, but those poor Canadian people who have been subjected to this second-hand piece of shit that is Justin Trudeau. Because what I can say about myself, as I've said before, is, unlike a lot of people, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Unless it's one of my birthday cakes. Anyway, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to bullshit anyone, or try not to. And I'm not going to mince my words. Trudeau is a piece of shit, put simply. He is a traitor to his own people. And of course, he is an enemy to anybody who is against this left-wing bullshit. What I find even worse is that I think he's currently been released on bail, from what I understand. He's been released on bail, but now his condition is he cannot leave Canada. Why is that? Someone want to explain that to me? Now, granted, it is a full calendar month and then some before the protest that's coming up on the 27th of July. But why is he being held? And you know what's even worse? If this is anybody else, there would be massive uproar. People would be quite rightly pissed off if they realised somebody on the left wing was being held against their will and told they cannot leave Canada. Tommy Robinson's human rights are being unequivocally trampled on. Justin Trudeau thinks of Tommy as a doormat. He's going to find out the fucking hard way, though, that doormat has teeth. Because Tommy is no joke. Tommy is no common person. I mean, he belongs to the common class, but he's not your generic person. He does not have surrender etched into his DNA. He is a pure-blood, unequivocal fighter. And I think he's going to fight this every step of the way. Because if they dare to decide to hold Tommy Robinson, and I know it's a bit of a stretch, but if they dare to hold him for that calendar month so he doesn't get to go to that protest, I think there's going to be hell to pay. Or maybe that's what they're banking on. But the thing is, we can see through this horse shit. We can see through the treachery, the deceit, the lies. And of course, all the mainstream media, of course, are jumping on the fact that Tommy Robinson has been arrested on immigration offences. He's not been arrested on offences. There's been an immigration warrant put out. There's a big difference between having a warrant out on you and actually being formally charged with the offences. So I think the media outlets, especially the Independent, since Lizzie dipshit Dearden used to love stalking Tommy Robinson, of course, until she projected that onto Tommy. But that is, again, something the mainstream media won't want to tell you. But they have instantly jumped on this. And I know a lot of other people are covering this story as well. I'm just merely a small fish in a big pond. Actually, no, I'm more like a big shark in a small pond because I don't really fit in it. Anyway, I am just another small fish at the end of the day. But we need more people to draw more attention to this. Because at the end of the day, we are all Tommy Robinson. And we need to take out the trash. We need to make sure these establishment traitors are made to pay for their injustices. Because they cannot be allowed to get away with this. Because it sends a message that they can do it to anyone. If they can do it to Tommy Robinson, they can do it to us as well. And I don't want to send that message to them. I want to send them a message that says, fuck you, we have our rights, we know our rights, and we will not be walked over. Hopefully, they'll come to their senses and not try to hold them for the full calendar month or so before the protest. But if they do, they are going to give ordinary Brits all the ammunition they could ever need to know that our governments are not in it for their people. The 9 most troubling words that anybody can hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And that will be a true, resounding case for Tommy Robinson. Because I suspect they're going to try and do him dirty. They may even do what they did in the past, what MIB did to him. Basically say to him, plead guilty to these charges and you get to go back. And that'll be another notch that they put on Tommy, which the media will use, of course, to slander his name, even though he never committed the crime. That's what I suspect they might even try to do as well. Of course, this is just speculation, but if we've seen it before, as far as the mortgage fraud case, how a mortgage form was filled out wrong, but nobody lost any money. He was doing it for a friend, but of course it got brought up in court. They said, plead guilty to these charges, we drop the family, because they were under threat that if the case was allowed to go forward, Tommy would have absolutely destroyed them for what they'd done if they failed to prosecute him. But once again, that is the mainstream media not wanting to tell you any of this because they know damn well how damaging it would be to them. We, as I said, must actively seek out and challenge these traitors, because if we don't send a very resounding message to them that they cannot keep doing this, they'll keep doing it. But what I find particularly sad as well is Tommy Robinson actually spoke at an event before the arrest, and the Canadian people gave him a bloody standing ovation. Do you ever recall a time where Justin Trudeau got one? Do you? I don't. Unless it's very fucking obscure. Unless it's like the most obscure thing you could ever have. Maybe that's why Trudeau's doing it. Maybe he's jealous at the fact that he can't get as much support for himself as Tommy Robinson can for himself. Maybe that's why he's doing it. Who knows? I don't know if that's going to be true or not. But what I do know is that clearly people like Tommy Robinson, and much like us, they don't like foul play. I suspect Trudeau may be in for a very rude awakening. And when he does, he is not going to like the response from the Canadian people that he's tried to suppress, including all those lorry drivers who are against the COVID narrative. Watch your back, Justin Trudeau. I don't advocate for violence, but I'm not going to be held responsible for anybody who goes out of their way to do so. Because you are playing a very dangerous game. And it might just be a game, Justin Trudeau, that if you don't watch yourself, you'll end up losing in a very big way.